All right, it looks like we've hit 6:30, so I will call this meeting of the Facilities Committee to order. Can we get a roll call, please?
Locke,
Here.
Smith, Vanek Theranot,
Here.
Wilson,
Here.
Furtado, Greer, Hanauer Friedman,
Here.
Lakshin.
Here. Thank you, we have quorum. Can we get an approval of today's agenda and addenda? It's moved by Locke. Second by Hanauer Friedman. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Oh. Approval of the minutes from the March 5th, 2024 meeting.
So move.
Moved by Van Sternot, second by Locke. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, thank you. Do we have any public participation for tonight? Seeing none, move on to board communications. Any communications from the board this evening? Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Dana, for a wonderful tour. Appreciate you setting that up, and got to see a lot of cool things at the Highway Commission, Highway Building. And I'm just wondering, maybe we should drive one of those trucks in here one day or something. Anyway, it was really wonderful to see the facility, and it's well taken care of, and it's nice to meet Jeff and his knowledge and experience. Glad we have a great staff over there at the Highway Commission.
I have a couple things I'd like to add. Just a reminder to the folks that are here tonight that 9 a.m. this Friday, the county board is invited to distribute, I put mine away already, but the eclipse glasses to the county staff. We'll be meeting in the Putman meeting room at 9 a.m. if anybody can make it to distribute those to county staff so they can enjoy the eclipse on Monday. Also, wanted to add a thank you to Dana and to Jeff Blue for the highway tour today. I know not everybody can make all of these pre-scheduled tours. I did want to point out, I know that Mr. Wilson and Ms. Locke recently toured the JDC, as Ellie and I both have done on a tour that we scheduled on our own. We've scheduled other facility tours as well for ourselves, so that's definitely something that all of our department heads and elected officials have been open to so far. If you want to see any of these facilities and get a tour, everybody's been very accommodating to us to set up a tour on your own schedule with something that works for you. Moving on to new business. Update on ITB 2022-008 County Plaza Renovation Project. We have Austin here today from Boren Russo.
Okay, I'll start in on some photos. So as of today, we have about 99% of the ceilings complete in the plaza. So this is a picture of the lower level. This is one of your secure evidence rooms. Jumping in, all mechanical systems are tied in, tested, ready for startups. So we're anticipating startups around the week of the 29th. We have our final piece of switchgear showing up the week of the 15th. That'll result in about a 2-week building outage for power. And then once the new switchgear is installed, all the boilers, air handlers, pumps, etc., will be ready to be fired up and tested with the manufacturer. Here's some ongoing curtain wall progress. We have a little bit more progress on this picture since this was taken, but we are wrapping up. We have one bay left finally on the south side. So courthouse side, there's one bay left to finalize that piece. And then we have the lower level storefronts that'll be ongoing after that. But the majority of the curtain wall is progressing well. And we hope to see that installed by next Friday if we have some good weather. Here's some more exterior shots. We're doing the closure metal and trim up here on the 5th to 4th. You can see the silver aluminum piece. So that covered the old triangle eyebrow. So that work is kind of progressing around the building as well. Here's your west side going down west side of the building here. Another curtain wall shot. This is your new future boardroom. Ceilings are installed with that. So we're doing light installation. We have our final above ceiling inspection this Friday with the city. So we hope that all goes well. They have been so far. So all the data, power, lights, that is getting installed currently right now. And then we'll be dropping ceiling tile early next week. Here's the clerk side of first floor, so this will be the west side. Ceilings are installed there, exit devices are up, lights installed, etc. And you can see there we got quite a few boxes of ceiling tile. I think it was like 18,000 boxes of ceiling tile that is in the plaza, so just to give you an idea quantity-wise. Fourth floor, conference room, so we got casework installed, all the flooring is installed, wood doors are hung. Waiting on our countertops, so those should be delivered Friday. So we'll be setting countertops and sinks, hopefully early next week. This is north side, northeast side, so where we had our trash chute bay. I'm sure a lot of you have seen that. We took that down last month, so we are buttoning up the whole north side from the first floor to the fifth floor. So catching those floors up and those offices, exterior offices. Here's some finished interior level 4 office accent wall colors. So I don't know if anybody's seen the colors yet, but I think they turned out really nice. Level 4 break area, got some casework installed, waiting on the countertops again later this week. So interior doors, all the doors are hung on 3 and 4 now. We're just waiting for some keying revisions, and then we will be installing all the lock sets. This is a third floor GIS suite. So just in case any of you haven't seen that, here's a casework in the GIS break area. This is second floor. This is like the open office on the east side of the building. So all the carpet is installed on 2, 3, and 4. We'll be progressing down to 1 next week. Here's your ceramic on level 2. This is outside the accent stairwell and the elevator lobby. So that transitions to elevator lobby. That all got installed, looking really nice. And that's all the photos I have. Any questions on photos or like site progress? Thought I had a picture. We did start the parking lot coating. It's going to be like that grayish color. I don't know if anybody's been on the parking lot, but that work is ongoing. It's halted right now with the rain, but we got about 30% of the upper deck coated. So we'll be transitioning to that as temperatures permit moving forward. So, yep.
So with the exception of the elevators, when is the expected date for completion of everything else at this point?
January 14th will be substantial completion date. We are waiting on the final key and revision, but that won't hold up substantial completion. Our generator is slated to arrive early May, which will drive the life safety final walkthrough with the city, as that's a life safety item. So currently January 14th is our current turnover date.
Mr. Wilson, sorry.
Thank you. Quick question. When you're doing your testing, is that a third party that does the testing, or is that in-house?
Testing for,
Well, you're talking about your mechanical systems or your balancing, yeah. Is that a third party that does that?
yeah, so all the startups are manufacturer certified, so they send out a manufacturer's rep to do the startups for those. Test and balance is a third party through Davis South Mechanical. So a test and balance contractor will come in, and then those.
All right, it's a separate contractor for testing and balancing.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Locke?
I think you have the same crossed wire that I also have. You said January 14th. Did you mean June 14th?
June 14th, yep. I was gonna say, we're a little past that one.
Any other questions? Oh, Mr. Wilson?
This is maybe for Dana and not for Austin. So when, that's June 14th, is there like a ceremony, a ribbon cutting ceremony? And would is there something for the Bennett family that they get acknowledged? Or when's the official name change on the building and a plaque on the building, et cetera?
Two different questions.
Yes, 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 yes.
First one I'll try and answer, but it's certainly undetermined at this point in time. Very difficult to have any type of ceremony where you can allow people to walk through the building because without elevator service, I can't get handicap in, so we really can't open up the building. So we'll, I'm sure, have discussions about that. We haven't discussed yet a plaque commemorating the remodel with board members' names and so forth, and the dates in particular. So we'll talk through that as we learn more about the elevators and try and get the first one underway. Name change. The board has officially changed the name. And we keep referring to it, and pardon us, but it's in the contract as County Plaza. It was bid out as County Plaza, so we keep referring to it as a plaza. County Executive has some drawings for naming to be placed on the outside of the building, both on the canopy on the south side as well as the smaller canopy where the staff come in on the north side of the building. So I think once we get feedback on that, that can happen fairly quickly. We do have painting left, particularly on the south side and on the north side where the trash chute was. So, as well as the lower level. So there'll be some painting yet ongoing. That'll have to be done before we can put the name up. But I think most everybody has liked the location of the Bennett Administrative Center in terms of lettering on the canopies. And we also have a four-sided sign that we'll be doing something with on the corner there. Not sure if that'll have the Bennett name since it's be prominent on the building or Champaign County Administration and other things. So that's yet to be worked out.
Well, I just thought it would be a nice gesture to have that, to honor him, honor his family, and have some kind of whatever. I'm not good at that stuff, but I think I thought it'd be a nice gesture whenever the building's officially opened, et cetera, and have some kind of gesture to acknowledge Mr. Bennett and his family and why we named it the Bennett Building, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I agree.
just
I
a
think
thought.
we've got some time though too I know we'll have the elevator update later on in the meeting,
Yeah.
and I know we've still got plenty of time on those, so. Any other questions just on progress here, or?
Bring up one thing that Austin and I have been working on. It's taken a very long time, unfortunately. We started out with about 3 or 4 different telecommunication companies that had both electric products and wiring running through the building. Verizon was the real big one with the relays on the roof, but we still had some fiber running down in the lower level from Consolidated Communications, AT&T. Those have finally been eliminated and are out of the building. We have one remaining, and we have no idea who it belongs to. AT&T couldn't tell us, or Consolidated could not tell us who it is. It's hooked up to electric, it's got fiber, and it's active. So again, we have no idea who it belongs to, but as Austin pointed out, once this switchgear gets here, we're shooting for the 15th of the month to basically turn the building power off as we begin to install the new switchgear. So somebody's going to be calling and complaining, and I'm not sure who it is yet, but we've tried to be as diligent as possible because we do recognize the impact that has on someone's, either it's their internet connection in their offices or their store, or whatever it may be. So we've tried very hard, and it's going to upset somebody, I'm sure, but it's going to happen once that switchgear gets here.
All right, seeing no other questions, we can move on to the discussion and approval of change orders for ITB 2022-008. Change orders 33, 34, 35, on and on through 41. And I appreciate the listing again in the packet this month for those orders, so we can refer to them quickly.
I did want to point that out again, too, that we did include that for your use as you look at it. It's got everyone to date, including the ones that were being submitted today for your consideration. I will also note that when you look at the sheet, it's a little confusing, but if you look at just the change orders and you come down that column and you'll see a total amount. The numbers in red obviously are credits, as you can look to the, what the item is. And it's listed as a credit over on that side, and then listed in red. The total is at the bottom, and that is accurate with the ones that are submitted today. That would give you a total. However, as you look over to the other stuff, we have to track the change orders as they occur through the pay apps. And so that's a little bit different than just, racking up a total. So you're not going to have any of that information, but this was an easy way to provide kind of a total look at both change orders and pay applications to date to get it to you in an expedited manner. So hopefully it doesn't confuse you, but I'm listing some other things for our necessity over on the right-hand side. So with that, I'll let Austin start and take us through the change orders.
Yep, to start, we have 33. That one is for new blinds at all exterior offices, levels 0 through level 5. During design, we were going to reuse the existing blinds with the old curtain wall. Being that we accepted alternate to replace the curtain wall, the existing blinds no longer worked. So we worked the past 6 months with blind manufacturers trying to find a company local with no prevail. So we reached out to a subcontractor we already had on the project to provide all new exterior blinds. That total is $64,271. Any questions on that? And that's some of the lead time on that's 10 weeks. That's from approval. So that, June 14th date does kind of depend on when we get these blinds in. I mean, we might have a few things here and there, but you'll be able to move into the building on June 14th. So any questions on the blinds? Okay. Next one, 34, that is to provide materials and labor to rework existing light fixtures on the exterior of the building. There's 16 scones on the outside that were not part of the contract documents, power related. When we demoed the entire infrastructure and existing facilities, those lights were not connected to that. So this cost is to refeed and repaint the existing housings to have exterior lighting, both up and down lights. That total is $29,753. Number 35, this one is related to the curtain wall again. There's exterior metal that is underneath the ceramic tile on levels 2 through 4 north side and 3 through 4 on the south side. That metal has to be removed in order to complete the fire safety detail per the drawings. Unfortunately, that metal is underneath ceramic tile, so that tile would be demoed out. We looked into an option to replace the border with ceramic tile, but that cost was more expensive than just replacing the entire floor with LVT, which is similar to your break room floor. So we provided that cost to do that for a total of $26,500. And that cost came with no markup on BR side, as it was a unforeseen with that alternate add. 36, that one is to provide the materials and labor to install 2 dampers in the server room 050. This is for additional cooling in the event of a failure on one of the units in there. If we did not provide these dampers, that room could overheat and if one of the units failed. So this is a backup system to provide additional cooling for the server room. And that total is $3,148. 37, that's provide materials and labor to replace 4 drains up on the upper parking deck. When we went into the shot blasting, recocking phase 2 weeks ago on the upper parking deck, we found that 4 of the existing drain bodies were cracked, which were leaking down into the lower level. So we did some demolition work to decide what valve body that was, and we found that they're actually interior grade drain bodies. So we have priced 4 heavy-duty drain bodies to replace those. We've done research during the rain events to isolate the 4. We hope that it's only 4. If we do find that one breaks in the future, we at least have a good game plan on how to resolve that. So that is the 4 drain bodies to fix the leaking issue prior to the final deck coating. And that total is $7,150.36. 38. This is to provide a new owner UPS and maintenance bypass switch. Part of the original project was to relocate the existing UPS that is currently residing here. With the timeline of the elevator and the existing facilities, that switchover was not going to be able to be functional. So we priced a new one to be a part of the project to allow that work to continue. So this is the maintenance UPS switch for $38,907.
Oh, Ms. Furtado, go ahead.
What is a UPS?
I was going to ask the same thing. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What was that?
Yeah. So this is really the county driving this one, and it's not Braun Russo. We've asked them to come up. We actually provided them with documentation for what IT is looking for and asked them to include it within the project. We just, unfortunately, at a time, we cannot move over the UPS that is here and is a backup for our servers here at the same time of being taking it and putting it over there without the switchover. So what it does, it gives us a backup. We'll be able to use this. If you remember, there's also a small server room over at the satellite jail, the new portion. So I think the intent is that once we do move the servers out of Brookins to the Plaza or the Bennett Center, we will move the current UPS over to the small servers being put at satellite jail.
And I'm sorry, you're going to have to say it one more time with the microphone on. You're on my
Apologize.
deaf side, so
Yeah,
I couldn't hear
was
you.
watching over uninterruptible power supply.
Thank you. Is that what you were going to ask? Okay, thank you. Ms. Furtado.
What makes it uninterruptible? I'm just curious.
It's a battery backup. It doesn't back you up forever. It backs you up for, I think this one was 30 or 40 minutes, roughly.
Yeah, and with your generator, it's basically just providing a bridge of gap between by the time the generator kicks on to that time, because you'll lose every function in the building without this system.
Yeah.
So at like our nuclear power plant, our local one, they have a whole bunch of those, which you would want, right? If you lost power and want emergency things to work, and so they're nice to have.
All right, any other questions on that one? All right, continue.
Number 39, this relates to door access revisions and hardware adjustments through the keying and changes throughout the building through several layout changes. We've upgraded and removed some door access and added some door access throughout the building. So some of this cost is related to new equipment. Some of this cost is credit to not providing the equipment anymore. So that cost is $4,873. Number 40, This is the materials to replace the S1 and S2 sinks. The original supplied sinks that were quoted were for a 22-inch depth cabinet. Our cabinet depths throughout the project are not that size, so we had to go down to a smaller size sink, and this is the cost associated with that. It's for $2,246. And then 41, I don't have that one printed out in front of me, but that one is for the Axon system. It's for the 2 touchpads to add power to those on the interview rooms on 4th floor. I think that one was like $455.
Beth?
Yeah, I have a question on 40. You said there's a credit and restocking fee. It will be added, so this amount doesn't reflect that currently, correct?
This amount is with the credit. And,
Oh, that is with
yeah,
the credit, okay.
correct, yep.
Mr. Wilson?
I think I know the answer, but I want to ask it anyway. What is the definition of substantial completion?
Owner can occupy the building with all life safety aspects intact.
Owner can occupy the building, and then there's a punch list item to resolve if there are punch list items.
Correct.
Okay, and when does the retainage, when is that released? At substantial completion, or?
Not at substantial completion. It'll be at full completion, filing all punch lists, all change orders. Some of these change orders are going to result in items being procured over the next 8 to 10 weeks, which gets us dangerously close to June 14th. So there's going to be items on the punch list that will have to get resolved, but you'll be able to move into your building, occupy it, move furniture in, and then final completion will come at a, I hope, much, pretty close date after that, so. Yep.
Any other questions on these? So if we can do these all as one motion, I'd like to get a motion to approve change orders for ITB 2022-008 County Plaza Renovation Project. I saw Locke had her hand up to move. Wilson seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. And those have passed, okay. Next, we have the discussion of the Borough and Rousseau Minority Employment Reports for January and February of 2024. Those are in your packet, pages 35 and 36.
Austin, they got in their packet the 3 documents that you provided.
So the separate sheet that was on our desks is,
Oh, you got 2 documents in your packet, and one was on your table, sorry.
okay, so, but that's all, they all go together.
I don't know what the page 2 is, but the page 1 that we can talk about, this is what I provide typically on our monthly pay application, depending on when the date falls. If I can get the final MER report from all of our contractors. So this Friday, March's pay app will come out, and that'll include March's MER report as well. So this is February's, for example. Wanted to touch on that. So total of 82 workers on site, female 2, minorities 6, and veterans 1. So we had a minority participation of 14.7% and a female percentage of 3.1% on site. And then the hours and contractors are listed below on how those numbers were met. Any questions on that? I know I've kind of presented a few different ways throughout the past few months, trying to provide as much detail as possible.
Ms. Furtado?
I just have a couple of questions about the math. So I don't get how 6 is 14% of 82.
It's all based on the hours worked.
Ah, okay. And then is that also the case? So it's 6 minorities and 1 veterans, but down here it looks like it's 2 people that are spelled out in minority categories and 2 veterans. So is it some of those people are working like out more hours?
Well, like the veteran on Davis Howe Plumbing and HVAC, they're the same person.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha,
They just showed on, they're billed out 2 different contracts.
I see.
So
I appreciate it. Okay,
I
that's
count them as
cool.
one, but they're 2 people theoretically.
I understand. I figured that there had to be like, I understand like sometimes employees aren't like actual.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a ton of
Yep.
sense. Thank you.
Any other questions on that? I appreciate this is really clearly laid out. For the most part, there are like the breakdown by contractor information as well. And I like that veterans are included. I know that's not always been the case for tracking. All right, thank you. I know we don't have Carla here today, but Dana said that he could give us an update on the courthouse parking lot access control project.
Yep. Carla does apologize, but she was feeling ill, went home from work today, so appreciate her going home and not contaminating us, so. So we had a meeting via telephone last week with Otis, Bailey Edwards, myself, and our elevator engineer. We have been waiting on actual dates from Otis for the delivery of the equipment. We've been told it's the last week in May. Do not have an actual date in May, so like Austin is waiting on a big generator, we're waiting on the elevator equipment. We keep pressing. We meet every 2 weeks just to impress upon Otis that this is a really high priority and they need to do whatever they can to try and work with their supplier, as well as in putting together their crew and get this project started and compress the time allotment that they feel that it would take. So that's the only update we've got with Otis. I mean, they've been what appears to be honest up front every time we have a phone call with them, and they claim to be checking with their suppliers. So it's no way to really double check that. So, any questions?
All right, thank you for the update on that. Okay.
Okay.
Moving on to the update on ITB 2022-009 satellite jail consolidation.
Yep, the good news is we've finally started that project. Hip, hip. We demoed early last week. You actually have a drawing contained in your document. We've enlarged a little bit the footprint of it. That was necessary because as we saw what they had laid out, we felt like vehicles would be blocking a sidewalk as they're waiting to swipe the card access, which we don't want somebody to get popped in the sidewalk, obviously. You want it done, as safely as possible. So we enlarged it slightly. The pedestal was poured, the concrete pedestal that the equipment will be on, curbing, was poured on Friday. They were hopeful of pouring the concrete where we tore out all the asphalt today, but obviously weather did not permit that. Not sure that weather will permit it tomorrow, as well as moisture and temperature, so we're probably looking at Thursday or Friday. Friday looks pretty decent to be able to pour. All of the equipment is here, which is the good news. Most of the electric work, conduit has been done. We've run conduit from inside the basement of the courthouse to this new pedestal and curbing. If Friday we can pour, then sometime next week we'll be setting the equipment. Part of this project also is putting a new oiled surface on top of the current parking lot prior to us bringing in some big concrete stones to keep the public out of the staff side of the parking lot, and painting, restriping, renumbering. That's probably a 2-day project. We're trying to look for a little bit warmer weather and trying to hit it on the weekend. So that'll be a Saturday, Sunday event. So it won't mandate that we have to come up with some other parking for our courthouse staff members Monday through Friday. So Deuce Construction is our contractor for this, and they feel pretty good about it. I just met out there today. It was a real quick meeting at about 4 o'clock because it was cold and windy. But feel good about it. I would hope that within the next 2.5 weeks, we can actually test the system and program the access cards for our staff and get our staff assigned and start using the lot hopefully within, as is designed to be used just for staff, within 3 weeks. So that's our goal.
All right, my apologies. I skipped ahead on the agenda and I said we were on to the satellite jail construction, but that was obviously the courthouse parking lot access control project. I did have a question about that. The last time I was out at the courthouse, I noticed it said that parking is enforced until 6 p.m. Do we have plans to make that a 24-hour enforced now, or would we be allowing access to the public after 6? Or removing that signage? And
I guess I need to see where that sign's at.
it's off of the Main Street parking entrance.
So it's right off the main street?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it? We'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, I just happened to notice that last week when I was walking by, and I was like, oh, hey, I wonder if I can park here after 6.
The lot itself, where, the 100 parking spaces for staff will be staff 7 days a week, 24 hours. So what parking will be available is the handicap spaces, the motorcycle spots. Those parking spots will be available for the public.
Great, thank you. Any other questions, Ms. Furtado?
What kind of tree is the special tree that we're saving? I don't, we're like saving a tree. I was wondering, is it a special tree?
Yeah, we did try and keep it. We have taken out a number of trees that were planted around there because they have a bad habit of dropping some really nasty stuff on top of cars that stains the vehicles, and we've over the years had to pay for a few cleanup jobs. So we tried to take those out and replanted some others. So we'll continue to do that and add a few more barriers around there once this gets done.
Any other questions? All right, sorry, we can move ahead now to the satellite jail consolidation. Thank you.
Thanks. Matt couldn't make it today, but he did send some pictures that I'll walk through what we're looking at. This is the exterior of the building. You see the brick is progressing. They started putting in windows late last week, so those are starting to go in. Here's a view of one of the mechanical chases showing some of the plumbing work. This is the interior of one of the cells. This is an interior shot of the one of the rec yards. This is another picture of one of the mechanical chases, again, showing a lot of the plumbing, piping, and mechanicals up at the top. This is one of the areas just outside the day room. To the left there is where the officers' station is located. You can see the flooring is starting to go in. This epoxy flooring is going in throughout the day rooms and cells areas. Here's another view of that security station with their panoramic views looking into each one of the day rooms and cells. It's another view of day room. Again, highlighting kind of the flooring that's been going on. Flooring work has been going on throughout the building. Just another view of that security station, just a little bit different angle. Here's our mechanical room, showing most of the equipment that's already been placed. And that is what he gave us.
Any questions on these?
Chris, would you go back to show them the small mechanical room that our staff will be utilizing? The skinny, narrow one, obviously. There we go. So
The chase.
this is a huge piece that's been added to this project. Currently, when we have to go and work on plumbing or electric regarding the cells or the day rooms, everybody's got to be locked up. We have to be escorted in, count for tools, get into a very small, if it's even possible, chase for plumbing that I don't know how some of our guys can do it, frankly. I certainly wouldn't fit. But this is on the exterior. So when we have a problem, our maintenance staff now can access the facility with the tools. A cart can go basically unescorted. And the plumbing lines that you're seeing are coming out from the back of each of the cells. So we can deal with a plumbing problem or some electric problems directly from this access. So it's a huge time saver for us as maintenance staff, but it's also a huge time saver for security staff of the jail. They do not have to, make sure that everybody's locked in a cell while we're in there doing our work. So it doesn't impact the inmates and it doesn't impact their security detail officers and having to, babysit our maintenance staff. So I know it looks small, but it's really a big piece of the project for us. Yes, sir.
Well, thanks for talking about that. That's a wonderful idea. On the picture number 2, this is just asking for curiosity. What is that copper pipe for? Is that showers or is it for, what's that for?
Chris, the large one he's talking about that runs horizontal and vertical.
I believe that's for toilets.
That's coming down a wall into
Yeah.
a flush valve.
They're
All
flush
those-
valves, toilet flush valves, or
Brass pieces at the bottom there, those are flush valves on all those toilets.
that's just to clean out the system?
Flush the toilet.
To flush the toilet?
Yep.
That's different, so the other page, that's different than the plastic pipe. Oh, so I thought that was toilets, that's something else then. Just out of curiosity, this one here, is that page right there?
So this is a combination of waste piping and.
That's waste piping,
And
right?
piping that's already insulated. This other one hasn't been insulated yet.
Okay,
So this other, it looks like plastic, but that white pipe there, that's the insulation on those.
that's
copper lines.
insulation, okay.
So you've got a combination of plastic here for the waste, and then you've also got the insulated copper. You just don't see the copper anymore because it's covered.
I got it. And then looks like concrete pour was either short on that page, or you just got to fill it in, or
Which one is that?
that's the one that already has the insulation and the plastic pipe. See there? the
They
lower-
started finishing the concrete. They haven't, that line there is where they haven't continued finishing it.
Oh, okay. All righty. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, moving on to discussion and approval of the change orders for the ITB 2022-009 Satellite Jail Consolidation Project, change orders 31 through 38, and then the composite is also attached on page 57 of my packet here.
So change order 31 is for adding a heat trace to the geothermal piping that exits the ground. For a period, it's exposed above ground until it goes into the building. And this heat trace would be added to that piping to prevent freezing. That dollar amount is $10,354.62. Change order number 32 is for adding hail guards to the 4 rooftop units. This was to protect the condensing coils on those units. That dollar amount is $10,673.91. Change order number 33. This is a credit for eliminating conduit for low voltage wiring, which was determined that was not needed. The existing jail currently has all of their low voltage wiring outside of conduit, so it was determined it really didn't make a whole lot of sense to make them put conduit in for this area as well. So that credit is for $15,248.15. Change order number 34 is to eliminate the swinging doors that are in the drying area just outside of the shower rooms. And also, so that's a credit, but there's a small add to add the mop holders in the janitor spaces, which were in the specifications but weren't shown on the drawings, so we had to add those in. That total is a credit, $23,690. Change order number 35 is to provide additional water lines to each of the showers. The showers required a mixing valve, which needed both cold and tempered water lines. The documents had shown just one tempered water line going to those showers, but the mixing valve requires both. So this would be an add of $12,281.69. Change order number 36 is to provide some pour stops for the deck areas. These are a couple of areas over the showers where the walls aren't directly underneath where the ceiling deck for those showers go. So that detail was missing a piece of angle that we needed to add in order to pour the concrete on top of that deck. That is an add of $2,126.25. Change order number 37 is to provide additional tube steel deck supports between joists. There were a couple of areas where the deck between joists needed some additional tube steel in order to keep that deck from bowing when the concrete was poured on it. So that was an add of $1,500 $47. Change order number 38 is for additional ceiling access panels. This was a coordination item that was determined that there were a lot more ceiling access panels that were needed in the hard lid ceilings than what we anticipated. So that is an add of $24,025.05. Any questions?
No questions on these? All right, then we can look at together the approval of change orders for ITB 2022-009 Satellite Jail Consolidation Project numbers 31 through 38. Moved by Ellie and seconded by Locke. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, those are passed. And then we have your minority employment report for February attached.
I won't be any help here. Sorry.
We've included this, this was sent out to committee members last month, so we've included it so that it's in the documentation. And PJ Matt, who was here at the last meeting, couldn't be here tonight, I think spoke about that at the last meeting, so.
I appreciate, all of you, I appreciate this a great deal.
And I think this is working out great to have the previous months completed instead of trying to scramble and get like March for the April meeting. So as long as that's working for y'all, then let's keep moving forward with that. Okay. So we have an update on the programming study of the public defender space at the courthouse.
Yep. All right, so Bailey Edwards and I met with all the department heads from the courthouse. So we established meetings with the public defender, state's attorney, probation, circuit clerk, court security, the sheriff, judicial, presiding judge, court services, IT, as well as the county executive to review basically what their needs are, what their current needs are in the facility. And we had them take them through their current space within the courthouse. And then we asked the questions, with growth, what are they looking for now? What are they looking for in 5 years? What do they think they would need in 10 years? So each of those that lasted somewhere between a half hour and an hour. We took copious notes. That's being typed up currently. That will be given back to each of the department heads for their examination and just to make sure that we indeed get what they told us. It's an opportunity for them to make a change, obviously. So that hopefully is going out this week. And as soon as we get that back, then we can actually sit down. We'll have a meeting with Steve and Michelle and start kind of planning what we can do with the space that will be vacated by the public defender on the first floor, as well as some storage space in the basement. So all, I thought, very good sessions. Everybody had great ideas, some more than others. Always interesting to see what they have to say. So, but I think they appreciated the effort and the level of questioning and the goal here is to put together a smart plan for us. They've all been informed at the same time that funding is not available for any major projects at the courthouse until at least sometime in '26, once a number of bonds are finally paid off and done. May not even be in '26. Depending upon what happens, if the board decides to go after sales tax percentile, it's possible there'd be funds maybe before that, We made no promises. We just tried to tell them, hey, this is what we know. This is what's happening. And we need to put a plan together because it's 24 already and it's April and all of a sudden it's going to be 25. And so you need to put a plan together. We'll be moving into the building hopefully by the end of the year or first part of next year. And that space will be available. It's very possible to move some things that just require an office to gain, more space for their specific need. But again, you need a plan and approval to move forward with that. So that's kind of where we're at. I'll have more to report at next month's meeting with, once we hear back, we'll actually probably make the documents available to the committee so you can read that once they come back from the department heads again, so.
Ellie?
Where does the need for a new courtroom fit into all of this at this point?
You want to answer that one, boss?
I was going to ask the same thing, so.
Part of the reason we're doing the utilization study at the courthouse is to determine where a courtroom could be sited, but also to make sure that in making modifications there, we're improving the overall space availability for all county departments and not creating an impediment a few years down the road when someone else says they need extra space. We really don't have the financial bandwidth right now to be able to build out a new courtroom. I think our chief judge had underestimated what the cost would be for that courtroom. There are specific dimensions of a courtroom that are required by statute. And Dana, I'm trying to remember, did you put that in like the $800,000 range? Yeah. So I think our chief judge thought that it would be much less expensive. And since we've talked about that, he's not expressed the same degree of displeasure, and I think he's willing at this point to wait until we have that financial bandwidth. I talked with one of the judges that I randomly ran into over the weekend, and while they're not necessarily happy with sharing, they are making it work. So that's kind of where we're at as far as a courtroom.
Stephanie?
This is like a logistics question. When we add in a potentially big project like this to that 10-year capital plan that we voted on, do you then like figure out how to slot it in and move other things down? And then do we have to revote? Like, how does that work? Since this is my first year on facilities, since that'll be my guess is whatever this comes in as, it's going to be a substantial thing that might mean we got to move other things around. Like if we do this in 26, maybe something gets bumped.
It really kind of depends upon what are we doing. If it's necessary to enlarge, and we're speaking way early, so we're just hypotheticals here. If it's found that it's needed or necessary to enlarge the courthouse to, provide additional courtroom, court services, inmate holding areas, possibly an elevator, don't know. That's kind of a little bit bigger than what we do with our capital. Remember, our capital really was started back after we did an exhaustive, not search, but inventory of our buildings and trying to look at what deferred maintenance had been not done and had been building up and piling up. And that was really the impetus for putting together a capital project for a 10, 11-year period. So, if it's smaller than that, rearranging offices, yes, we will take a look at our capital plan. We'll have to massage it and move stuff around. But we do that from time to time anyway. We just did it I think a year ago or a year and a half ago. You know, with things that we know now, if some things come off the schedule, it's time to probably do it again, so.
Steve?
I think what Dana is very delicately saying is that if the expansion needs at the courthouse are more significant, we would likely be looking at bumping out the courthouse to the east of the building and taking up a rather large chunk of the parking lot that we're currently working with the access gates on. And that is something that would require the equivalent of Bennett admin type of work. It would be probably at least in that $20 to $25 million range, I'm thinking, if not more. So I would really rather look very carefully at the existing space and see what we can do to use space more efficiently so that we don't have to do that.
I think we're all in agreement here. Any other questions on that study? All right. I have no other business for today. Next meeting will be May 7th at 6:30 p.m. The items to be placed on the consent agenda are 6B and 6G. And I think I'm calling us to order or calling this adjourned, sorry, at 7:31. Thank you all.